Good morning. Today we're going to install that wiring harness right there, here, this arrow, and it's a deluxe wiring harness, so it has headlights, turn signals, a multifunction switch to install on the steering column, a cover for the wiring going down the steering column, a horn button on the multifunction switch as well, rear tail lights, brake pedal switch, so we're going to have to pull the floor cover up. We're going to have to pull part of the dash and the front clip off to run the wiring. So what I'm going to be doing here is just checking this all out to see how we're going to route the wiring. And I'll speed this up for you, and when there comes some important parts to show you, then I'll slow her down. Alright, so I'm pulling the dash and the center cup holder right now, so we can get access up in here. The wiring harness is going to go over to where the key switch is for the headlights. There's a headlight switch, and then the horn, the relay, is going to be behind the cup holder here that I just pulled out, and then the wiring for the two headlights is going to drop right in behind the cup holder, and then the rest of the wiring is going to go right down the middle of the flooring, come up in between the back wall behind your feet when you're sitting on the cart, and the batteries. Then we're going to run that around the driver's side, connected to the battery. Each one of those batteries is 12 volts. You only need 12 volts for this. And then we're going to run and route the wiring around the back. Behind the seat there's a black cover, and then to the back tail lights. So we'll speed this back up. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is pull these black covers on each side. I believe there's like 4 screws, and those covers come off so we can pull the rubber floor mat out. I'm going to have to go around to the driver's side and do the same thing. Alright, so I'm just pulling off the screws on the driver's side, and then there's just little black push down like mushroom clips that are holding the floor. There's a few on each side, and then we're going to have to work the floor around the pedals, the brake pedal and the throttle. But other than that, it's pretty simple. Alright, once I get this floor mat out of here, there's another cover and like a rubber boot going around the throttle pedal to keep water and moisture out of there. Again, there's some more clips, those little black push down clips. We're going to pull that out. I'm going to wipe this down, try to clean all this dirt and sand that's got it trapped between the rubber floor mat and these panels. So I'm going to wipe that all down, and we're going to clean out this whole area, so a bunch of dirt and stuff doesn't go in there. We're gonna have to put a brake switch in on this, and I'll show you a little bit closer up how to do that. And then after we get this floor panel taken off, we're gonna have to start taking this dash panel off. The interesting thing about this dash panel coming up is that the screws that hold the black part of the dash panel actually hold the front clip, like the hood or whatever of the golf cart where the headlights are going to go as well at the same time. So it's pretty easy to come apart. All right, well, I'm going to start taking out the screws for the dash, and they're just like right underneath. It's a couple, like 4 screws going across right underneath. And they're like Torx. I think they're like 20 T20s or something. So we'll speed this through. All right, well, I'm going to take a quick look at the wiring here to see which way is easiest to pull through. What I found the easiest to do was just leave the headlight switch and all the wiring up in front and then feed the rest of the stuff back past this wall up to the batteries. Because of the switch on the end, it's too big to feed it back the other way. So yeah, just blew out some of the dust and sand, what was, you know, under those covers for the pedal and the brake. And I should be pulling the front clip off here pretty soon. I mean, basically would have just fell off, but you know, the screws from the front part of the dash go into it. You can see I've already got the headlights cut in to this, so it's just a matter of plugging them in, and I'm just looking to see where I want to route the wiring, how I'm going to hold it up in there. Looks like we're going to have to order a set of metric Allen sockets for a 3/8 drive so I can use my impact, because these things are tight. I think there may be Loctite or something on these things. Or actually, they go all the way through. They come through and they're out on the other side. So they're rusty or whatever. So let's see. So there's 4 bolts holding this bracket down, which is a bumper for the pedal when it comes back. The new bracket I have with the little red wire on it right there has a switch built on. So I'm taking off the original bracket, putting a bracket that's similar but has a micro switch. I sprayed some WD-40 on the bottom of the 4 screws because they go through and they're on the underneath of the cart, so they're exposed to dirt and rust, and so that's what's so hard getting them back and forth. So I believe it's like 2 Allens, and then I think there's a Torx or something, 2 Torx and 2 Allens, I believe. So it's a total of 4 screws to hold the bracket down. Change this out, then route this wiring for this brake switch to the harness that comes with it, so that when you step on the brake pedal, that the LED rear tail lights are also high-low, so you'll have brake lights for the DOT street kit that this is. Maybe the most time-consuming part of this whole kit is running the wiring. So now that I'm kind of wrapping up what's going to happen up front here, I've got to feed the wiring through down this little channel in the middle. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to run it down through the channel and then up by the batteries. So that's going to be the most time-consuming part. We'll speed through this as much as possible. And throw a little bit of music in here. Alright, now that you got this cover off, you can route the wiring, clip in the tail lights, then run it up and then zip tie them to the inside of this frame so there's nothing touching anywhere around the motor, because the motor is attached to the axle and it's going to move up and down, so you don't want the wiring to go anywhere on, just laying on the motor or whatever. So just run it down the frame, zip tie it up, and then run it over onto the driver's side, and then connect it to the closest battery over there. Once you have this thing all zip tied up, then the excess wiring that you have between the front and the back here, you can just bundle it up, throw another zip tie on it, and then you'll be able to put this cover back on. And we're completed back here. Just a matter of testing everything, make sure everything works. So let me just finish connecting up these wires and zip tying up this harness, and we'll move on. this point, we can drill a 1/2-inch hole in the dash for a headlight switch. And put the switch through. It's 9/16 nut. Just tighten the secondary nut. And then we can start putting the together. And All right. Well, let's finish putting these last two side covers on here. That holds the floor, the rubber mat down, and we're done now. You know, we wired it up, which takes the most amount of time. I think you have to drill the one uh, hole for the switch. The wiring, there's a nice little center trough for the wiring, and there's already wiring in there to run it back towards the battery. Um, you may not have seen it in this video because this one is basically focused on running the wiring kit, but check out some of my other videos if you want to see how to, cut in the tail lights or the headlights, how I did it. Some kits are more extensive, like this one with a horn and the multifunction switch, and then a lot of times, unless you're driving on a road where you need to have brake lights and turn signals, like if you're just at a campground, you could just have headlights and tail lights is usually all you'll need, and that kit's a little bit easier to do. You eliminate having to have the multifunction switch and the brake switch, so you don't have to pull that cover off. I'm going to do some other accessories, so check out some of my other videos. Thank you for watching. We'll do a little walk around here, and if you've never had this particular type of multifunction switch, right under the handle is a silver bracket that you can pull out right there, and that turns on the hazards, and then you just have to flip the turn signal switch up or down to cancel those out. So that's a walk around of the deluxe light kit for a 2020 EZGO RXV. Thank you for watching.